I would like to start a petition and boycott cherry cordials.
Yeah, I could get on board with that.
They're not cute anymore. They're not tasty. Nobody eats them.
They're disgusting.
It has become the fruitcake of the modern era.
It's true, because nobody does fruitcakes anymore.
Nobody does fruitcakes anymore. But
you always get that one box.
A huge brick that you're never going to eat. And what you do when you receive it is you automatically try to think of somebody else you can wrap it for and get it back out of your house.
Yeah.
You know what I got this year? I'm not even kidding. I got blueberry cordials from my mom and the cherry cordials from like an uncle.
Yeah.
I've got these 2 bricks of ruined chocolate sitting in my house right now.
Well, I guess I know what I'm getting for Christmas next year.
Welcome back, everybody, to the FoundryCast. I'm Cyrus.
Hey, everybody, I'm Zach.
And this is episode 11. Well, actually, like 11.5, maybe.
Yeah, 11 take 2.
Take 2, version 2.
Yeah, we recorded episode 11 a few weeks ago, and it was our holiday episode where we were talking about holiday stuff, and there was some computer shenanigans, and unfortunately the episode is lost to the ether of the Ethernet.
Yeah, and we thought about just leaving this as the lost episode.
Yeah.
But I feel like the lost episode has to be recovered at some point.
Yeah, right. There has to be a chance for me to recover it.
But Doctor Who lost episode, it's there. But this one, it's just gone.
It's gone forever,
so
as far as I can tell. Yeah.
Thought we'd start over and touch on a few things, and as they've evolved over the last few weeks, and then start fresh on a few others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got to catch up a little bit to how far behind we were at our last podcast. We've been away for 2 months.
By the time this hits the airwaves on Podbean, it'll have been about 2 months.
Yeah, because our last episode came out on Halloween or just before Halloween. And
we thought the Thanksgiving theme may not be too much fun. What do you... there are things that we're thankful for, and we've been trying our best over the last few months to be thankful for those things in real life.
Yeah.
But we are wrapping up 2016.
Yes.
It has been a noteworthy year.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it a banner year, but it's been
difficult for a lot of people.
It has. Yeah, unfortunately. For a lot of bad reasons. It's been a bad year. I would say for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons.
Yes, and I think it feels that way, but what I've noticed a lot, especially on social media, is how everyone's saying that 2016 was this terrible, the worst year ever.
Yeah.
People are prone to that sort of fanciful talk.
Sure, yeah. The exaggeration of the now.
Sort of clickbaity, the way they go, oh, this is just the worst thing you have ever seen. Like, no, it's not the very worst, but I know what you mean. And it's been incredibly difficult, but I saw today there is a GoFundMe going on for people to raise money to ensure that Betty White doesn't die between the end of 2016. Just because of the perceived rash of celebrity deaths over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the year as a whole, it's kind of been backloaded since November with bad stuff. We had, Prince passed away this year, like in the summertime, I think.
Yeah.
But that was really the first... Well, no, was... Did Robert Williams die this year as well, or is that last year? I can't.
It's a year or two ago. Yeah, no, that wasn't.
Was it that long ago? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well, so I guess Prince was like the first one, and then there wasn't.
There were several great actors, but the thing is, 2016. It's not necessarily one of the worst years, really, in a long time. Granted, a lot of it remains to be seen what's going to happen in the future, but we have this short-term memory.
Yeah.
The way our brains code information, and our memory is coded in our brain in different areas, especially positive emotion and negative emotion. Mm-hmm. So what's weird about this cognitive bias is that we recall bad memories as more immediate and closer because we code them in greater detail in our brain. It's better that we know what that poisonous snake looked like than what the most tasty apple on the tree looks like.
I think that's true. I mean, bad stuff sticks with you. When something good happens to you, you're like, oh, good, that was good, and now it's over with. Mm-hmm. Whereas when something bad happens, you're like, wow, that was bad. Man, that sure did suck. Wow, what a bad thing that happened to me 6 months ago and I'm still mad about. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
And as you were alluding to, a lot of it did have to come out from the election cycle. It was very backloaded, and it was very hard on not just the people who were on a political party that won. Yeah. They had to have high emotions throughout the whole process, and then up into the end of the election, the Republican Party was still claiming fraud.
Yeah.
Until their candidate won.
It was a very negative campaign from the winners. Mm-hmm. And then, to be on the losing side, obviously, is very negative, especially given, when you lose to a negative campaign, it's not a good position to be in for the folks who are going to be actually affected by the bad stuff that was talked about. But, I was thinking, too, about... I mentioned, Prince dying, celebrity deaths. I think that's a lot of people, that's got them down. And I guess part of it is we've lost an actor from 2 of the 3 really prominent nerd series.
Yes.
We lost just recently Carrie Fisher. And then earlier in the year we lost Alan Rickman from Harry Potter. So I guess maybe that's part of it in nerd culture specifically, that it's especially impactful. When Betty White passes, it'll be sad, but was Betty White in Star Trek? No, she wasn't. No. So it's like impacting nerd culture, not as important. Whereas when Patrick Stewart unfortunately passes away some years from now.
When Leonard Nimoy passed away.
When Leonard Nimoy passed away, it was
felt
very tough. Yeah.
Very tough.
Yeah.
My favorite actor is Alan Alda.
Yeah.
And he seems to be doing pretty well for his age, and to me, when he passes away, that's going to be a depressing day. And I can imagine a lot of folks were hurt with Carrie Fisher's passing.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially
because her role is super integral to the Star Wars series as it continues on.
So, like we said, 2016, such as it is drawing to a close.
Yeah. It may even be over by the time.
By the time this episode goes up, it's going to be right at New Year's or shortly thereafter. So, it's kind of a standard topic for this time of year.
Yeah.
Resolutions. Let's talk about nerdy resolutions. Let's talk about geek resolutions.
Well, I would first say that I think, and I've read research on this in the past, that most resolutions fail.
Right.
Because it's this flight of fancy. I think this is going to work. And then you don't do anything. You get tired of it. And you have to commit to making that change in your life and not expecting it happens.
Right.
Well, the great thing about nerdy resolutions is that we're all a little bit obsessive compulsive about our craft and our nerdism
Very
and
true.
whatever we geek out about. So it might actually be easier for us to stick to these.
You're saying that our mental illness gives us an advantage here.
Or just whatever our mental thing is. I don't know if I'd call it an illness.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I've got a couple of things that I would really like to see through the next year. One of them is I want to be involved in more role-playing games.
Sure.
I think it is so underutilized. I think it's something that could be added even into schools because it teaches economy, it teaches dynamic thinking, it teaches teamwork. That there are probably some high school clubs that could, it's still maybe not the coolest thing.
Sure.
But you never know what person could benefit from that sort of gameplay. And I think in my life, it's a bit of a release and going on adventures like that and getting to spend time with friends.
Sure.
That's one of the things. I just want to get into more games overall.
I can definitely see that. It's rare that you or I are ever involved in more than one game at a time. And, we have friends that are doing 2, 3 more games.
Well, part of that is they don't have full-time jobs and they don't have
true. I mean, it does come down
marks.
to. I mean, that's why I'm not in any game right now. I genuinely just don't have the time to commit to it. But there's a way to make that time for sure. For me, I don't know. I can think of one, and it's a twist on an old classic. You talked about resolutions not being fulfilled, and the classic one is I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to work out, I'm going to buy a weight table or weight bench or whatever, and then it goes unused. Mine is I want to get in better shape. for a specific reason. DragonCon is in the fall, and
I've got plenty of time,
and I'm looking at some costumes that I am curvier than I used to be. I'll say that.
We all are.
I work in the beer industry and have access to a lot of alcohol, and that doesn't do well to my figure. So, I've got a lot of room where I can. What's the opposite of grow? I can shrink. I've got a lot of room to shrink. So I would say that's probably my number one right now. Is like I just need to get in better shape. I've toyed with it for a couple of years, and I'm very seriously considering a costume I've always wanted to do. Is Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, yeah.
A hero from my childhood. But I cannot do that in my current form. I've got to beef up a little bit for that. So I doubt I'll ever get to that point to be able to do that costume justice. But at the very least, I need to, lose a little on the midsection.
Grow the beard out a little bit
Grow
better.
my beard out, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, get myself into a better position to, heck, even if I'm wearing a big set of armor or robot costume or something like that, where my figure doesn't matter, it's still heavy and hot, and I'm going to be in it. I need to be in better shape than I am now. So
yeah, the toughest part about that is that a lot of the costumes that you come up with, you start to design it and you realize, yeah, if I was 15 pounds lighter, it would probably look a little better and I would look more like the character. And as we talked about in the Lost episode about costuming and how, in my opinion, it's better if you look somewhat like the character in some way that you're going to represent, although it isn't necessary.
No, not at all.
If I'm going to dress as Wolverine, I got some workout to do.
Yeah, you should.
I got to work out on everything from my wrist down to my ankle.
Yeah.
Because my hands and feet they're good. They're fine.
Oh, yeah.
Everything in between,
your hands
I'm
are
in trouble.
huge.
They're huge.
Yeah.
Muscular.
Oh, yeah.
I've got the claws.
Muscles upon muscles.
Muscle upon muscles. But then you get to my wrist and my forearm, it's a stick.
I've got the body hair for Wolverine, but that's about it.
I don't even have that. Now I've got to go and grow more body hair.
Get some Rogaine.
I've got to do some deep hair workouts. I don't know what those are.
Well, so what's your other one? You said you had a couple.
One would be to give more to my friends. What I like doing when I'm crafting is to give it away.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And I've done it for Christmases before, and I tried to rally up that again, but I didn't get the outcry of, yes, we want to join you and do that too. But was it 2 years ago I made dice boxes for everybody. Doing things like that I think are so great because it fosters that friendship and it's part of and it means something. So the runes on it mean something. Right. And I think a lot of people appreciate something more when someone else made it for you by hand. One of my favorite things I got for Christmas was a little sheet from a coloring book that my very sick grandmother colored. Mm-hmm. But it's the coolest thing. She spent that time coloring in every little bit, and I love it to death. Yeah. If some little 4-year-old made it, that's still cute. They made that for me. It has my name on it. So I think giving more to my friends is really going to help me through the next year.
Yeah, I like that. And it also gives you a goal to set, I'm in that position, too, where, I want to do all this costuming work. I'm not going to wear all these costumes. So I would love it if I had
people to costume for?
Yeah, a friend who came to me and said, hey, for my birthday this year, will you help me make a costume for DragonCon? Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what I want to get
Zach,
you for your birthday. Yeah.
Could you make me a Navi costume for...
Sure. I can do that in like a weekend if you want.
Hey,
listen.
Yeah,
you'll get smacked around.
I love that sound effect. Can't get enough of it.
We'll make it happen for you if that's what you want.
The last one I have, and this is one I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
We haven't done it officially.
Okay.
I want to join Pathfinder Society.
Oh, the actual society.
I want to go ahead, set that up, and join a couple Pathfinder Society games. Because you can go in at level 1, no experience, as long as you've basically registered online, and let the venture captain know that you're coming to a certain game on a certain week, and just do it and try it.
Yeah.
I want to see if you'll go with me.
Sure. Now, my only concern there is just like the time commitment about if it's going to be like this such and such time every week or whatever the case may be. That might be tough.
That's the cool thing. Let's say you're that dedicated, you could, but no, it is basically a one-time game.
Okay.
And that's why it's almost like you're building an account. And so you play and you add points to your characters.
Yeah.
And for your first game session, if you've played Pathfinder before and they're running a level 3 game, they may hand you a level 3 pre-generated character to start off with. That's not unusual. But the points that you earn, or the experience that you earn, goes to you.
Your and you can spend it on your character.
Kind of like that, yeah. Okay. That's one way to look at it. So you couldn't necessarily earn points and just bank them, and I don't think just add them to whatever character you want necessarily.
Okay.
But you could, if you play a pre-gen because you wouldn't fit into that game, I think those points could be used in that way. But if you bring your character to the game, that all applies. And that includes boons, and that includes other interesting things. So I think it would be a lot of fun to maybe get a group together to go.
Sure. Or
just you and me, or it's something that I was looking at doing a few weeks ago. I thought I'd have a little more free time, but I didn't. I think that'd be a really fun way to tap into the community and experience what a lot of us have enjoyed for years, but in a different way.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a blast. Do they allow rat folk?
At some
rat folk rogues?
Maybe. Definitely not to start. And that's kind of the cool thing is you start out with the barest bones of classes and races, but as you earn things, you can unlock the ability to be
more stuff.
More and more stuff. Okay. So it's kind of like you earn your way into prestige classes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you couldn't allow somebody to come in and immediately be a changeling or tiefling or something.
Right. Because it's all going through Pathfinder Society material.
Right, yeah, because you're playing their set adventures. Right?
Playing set adventures, so you couldn't necessarily be in this one town and go, oh, here's a Nagaji, here's a Tengu. Like, okay, monstrous races probably wouldn't fit into this city.
Yeah.
You walk in, they kill you automatically.
You can be a human or elf in this game.
Human, elf, dwarf, and maybe a couple other variations of that.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be fun, and if we get a chance to do it a few times, and then I know they run Pathfinder Society games at Dragon Con.
And you go to a convention, to jump in. You're in.
Yeah, absolutely.
As the year is closing and heading into 2017, which feels really alien and foreign to even talk about. Like, the year's done. November, December flew by. But the Foundry is heading into another year.
Yep, it'll be our first full year, because we started like mid-year this past year, right?
Yeah, we going strong and then weak and then strong and then weak again. But
embarrassed to say I don't even know when our first show was now I'm thinking about it, but
well, it was about 11 episodes ago.
Yeah, sure, yes. Exactly 11 episodes.
Which was a weekly thing for a while, but
yeah.
I think that the pacing that we have set forward and some of the other things we have planned for the future are really going to be interesting for 2017. Doing something different, and I threw something your way, an idea that I wanted to do to both give us something to focus on, but also that might be a motivator to help us produce even more material. Because part of the FoundryCast is to sort of touch base on what we're doing, what we have planned. It's just sort of a sounding board for ourselves and to pass on to anyone who listens or takes in our materials.
Yeah.
But what it is that we're going to do to kind of step it up a little bit for next year. Because I think we've done some interesting things. I've put out some interesting videos and blogs. Your blogs have been great. Your videos have been great. But what are we going to do to ratchet up to the next level? And I thought, what if we set themes for each month?
Yes. We talked about this a little while ago. Several episodes ago, behind the scenes, we were kind of bouncing around with this idea.
Yeah.
And I think it's spot on. Yeah. I was talking to somebody else the other day about, just because I was thinking out loud about this idea. And I was like, how great is it going to be, the idea if we have a theme for a month, that's going to drive creation, because you sit down, we were talking about this before the show, one of the hardest things to do is to start on a blank page, to sit down and start something new.
Yes.
Or also to sit down and continue something you've been doing for a while and you're kind of bored with.
Maybe I want to move on to something fresh.
So every month you sit down and this month's theme is dragons. Oh, well, now you get to build a dragon mini for your game, and I get to play a game that involves dragons or something. It's
exactly.
It's creating. It's like writing competitions where they give you a prompt. We're going to have a prompt every month. which I appreciate for sure.
Well, even what you said before about just a picture. You see this picture with this otherworldly image or something that intrigues you.
Yeah.
And it causes you to connect ideas and the way these things could work and the universe in which it all exists. And it just came from a simple picture. It could have been a creepypasta, for goodness sake. But it inspired something in you that maybe if you sat there, pen in hand or fingers arched over the keyboard and you just don't know what you're going to do about it. I mean, we both have cameras and we both have microphones and we could do anything we want, but then you sit there and go, what the hell am I going to do?
What am I going to do today?
Am I just going to film myself talking?
Yeah.
What about?
Yeah, but now, if we have that guidance, it's going to be nice. I thought it would be nice tonight if we sat down and, if you're listening to this will be kind of behind the scenes in terms of planning for us and the way we discuss things, but let's talk about some theme ideas and let's right here, right now, even come up with our theme for January 2017.
By the time we're done this conversation, let's pick for certain
where
we're going to go with in January.
Yes.
And then anything that we've discarded, those are clearly up for grabs for future months. Yeah. Each of us were jotting down some ideas. And I don't know if you've come up with any others on your own since then. I've developed a few more ideas within some of the themes.
Yeah.
Some of them seem kind of obvious.
Yeah.
But the way we present them and to break them down, I think, is kind of cool.
Yeah, there's definitely, I'm just looking at a list that we compiled a while ago. That's some of them are definitely obvious. Something like space. Star Trek and Star Wars.
Star Trek, Star Wars.
There's so much you can do with that.
Battlestar Galactica, Lex, Farscape, Stargate. Wait, did I?
Yeah.
Firefly. Sorry, I had to say Firefly.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure there's something out there we're forgetting that somebody's going to get mad about.
Probably they're raging at their listening device.
You forgot the Death Cycle by German.
I almost said raging at their radio. How freaking old are you, dude?
Radio? What's that?
I still have aspirations of being a DJ, a shock jock, or something.
Coming to you on the KBBO. Okay.
Hey, I got to do radio in college, and it was like a dream come true.
More than I did in college.
Did I tell you
much?
That in college, I actually had people call in from different states who found the website for the radio station through the college and would listen to our radio station streaming.
Nice.
It was really weird. Someone from Florida would call up.
Got fans all over the country.
It's you call in from Florida. It's dude, you're the best radio show. And I live in Florida. I'm so sorry that my music is the best. But thank you.
No, that's great.
Themes.
But it's some other ones. Again, obvious ones, comic books. Hey, that's right in our wheelhouse. Let me see.
Well, and comic book could be just considered animated.
Yeah.
So it could be comic book /
cartoon
or 3D CG.
You could do a cartoon month by itself.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes we're writing stuff down.
So there's retro game month is important for me as given the fact that I like to play a lot of games, specifically retro games.
And I love the idea that retro could extend just also beyond games, just retro month.
Yeah, retro month. We talked about even, I don't know, this may be giving away future content, but what would be fun for a retro game month would be let's sit down and play first edition D&D.
Yes.
Play a first edition game.
You guys know how excited we are because we know that this is going to be Character Death City.
Oh, it'll be so much fun.
I will be so prepared to put some brand new, sparkly, ambitious character on the line and just to know he's probably going to bite it.
I'm going to be a magic user.
Well, of course, everybody is.
There's a specific class, magic user, right? You could be a warrior, an elf,
you
magic
could be
user.
You could be a couple of classes and then dwarf or elf.
Yeah, it's going to be... Yeah, because those are actual classes, yes.
Yes, dwarf is a class.
Yes.
And you can't even... And I'm pretty sure this is regular first edition. Bard is not a thing you pick, it's a thing that you grow to become. That's back when Bard meant I am the best.
Yeah, I can do most things.
Yeah, that's like what we would consider now to be a high-level prestige class, to be a Bard.
It should be again, I think.
Then for a while, Bard was, no, who wants
Nobody wants
that?
to be a Bard.
You're terrible at everything. And then you sing. What's that do?
We talked about doing maybe some stuff to tie in with certain themes, or seasons, I should say. Mm-hmm. Like, I know we talked about Nintendo month, maybe in March when the Switch comes out.
And Nintendo is, I wouldn't necessarily a universal theme, but it's so beloved that could be a fun way to go.
Sure.
Could that fit into a retro month? Yes, but then if we're kind of pushing towards the Switch, which we'll
you
talk
can play
about a little
newer
bit.
Nintendo games too. It doesn't have to be retro, definitely.
One of my favorites is, and I don't remember if you named it or if I did, Wizards and Witches? Or Witches and Wizards?
I have it on here as Witches and Wizards with 8 Z's. No, 4 Z's. Wizards. I don't know why.
That's an appropriate number of Z's.
Yes. Witches and Wizards month would be a lot of fun. Because there's a lot you can do with that. The obvious, of course, is Harry Potter, but there's so much, long before Harry Potter had existed, there were a lot of Witches and Wizards stuff.
Many a wizard and witch have been mentioned in story and song.
Yeah.
So that's pretty solid. One of the ones that I got jazzed about, which, some of these seem kind of similar, but there are ways that they're unique.
Yeah.
Just Dragon Month.
Yeah.
Maybe going into Dragon Con, something like that.
Could be, yeah. I think I was having a discussion with somebody about these the other day, and I said I think it would be August. August is probably just going to be Con Month, because the month of August is just all of my time goes to preparing for Dragon Con, so...
That's fair.
But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully I can get enough done beforehand to where it'll be just another month, which would be nice.
I was trying to find a name for, maybe I did, I don't see it here. Name for a month that's based off of a very blocky game of building and mining.
Oh, the new Lego Universe game or whatever?
Not that one.
Oh,
okay. Less quality polygons. Still a favorite of mine, Minecraft.
Yeah, that would be fun.
But Minecraft is just tailor-made for what we're all about, because it's creativity and exploration and combining things and building things. Yeah. So maybe if we can find some way to branch that out into not blocky, but something like that. It's not 8-bit, it's not retro.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a builder game month. I mean, there's definitely Minecraft created a genre that has dozens upon dozens of games in it now. I don't know, or building block month.
Block month?
Block month.
Block month?
Yeah.
I'll write that down. Something like that.
That could be fun. Mm-hmm. Another one that I really like, I don't know how much we would be able to do with it, but I have it on here as Dystopia Dark Fantasy Month.
Yeah, I wrote those down as 2 different ones because I wasn't certain.
Like, really, that's such an interesting... Like, a dragon theme or whatever. Okay, Nintendo, yeah, everybody does, That's easy, but something like that, like, let's talk about Shadowrun, let's talk about Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
That's exciting. Something a little different and unusual. Mm-hmm. Like that one a lot.
And that could go into dark fantasy. It doesn't necessarily have to be science fiction. It could still be high fantasy,
absolutely.
Dark fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, Conan the Barbarian is what I would call dark fantasy for sure. So yeah.
It's pretty solid.
You suggested the other day, and actually I added it on here, and then I realized we already had one on here. Battle Month?
Battle Month.
I have Battle Month twice.
Yes.
Battle Month, that makes a lot of sense. In RPG, tabletop role-playing, there's always almost always combat. Mm-hmm. There's lots of combat video games. There's a ton of room to do a lot with that.
And just even RPGs that are turn-based and time-based. And if you're playing the original Warcraft, that's about fighting and wars.
I've thought about going back and playing through Warcraft 1 and 2. And
I was thinking the same thing.
I've played through Warcraft 1 before, a few years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and it's it's so archaic. It's really tough to play.
Slow.
It's so slow. And you can only select, I think, 4 units at a time, and you can't assign them group numbers. So just like from an interface game standpoint, it's brutal.
That would be it'd be a bit of an overhaul, but to get the story presented in such a way, that'd be kind of neat if they could re-release the previous ones with updated speed. Not necessarily keep the graphics the same.
Yeah.
But updated speed and interface?
I would love for them to redo the UI. Let me have like 12 units at a time in numbered groups.
Like how many gigabytes of memory would that take? Not even a gig.
And they'd sell 1 billion of them. Mm-hmm. They'd sell a ton of copies. Yeah, maybe one day.
Maybe that'll be on the next like console mini release. Maybe there'll be something else.
Of course, Blizzard doesn't need any help making. They're like Nintendo. They don't need any good ideas.
They don't listen to what we say.
Money, so. I don't know. So what do you think? I mean,
well, I also think that some sort of like cyber month, cyborg, robot. Mm-hmm. So more tech, less fantasy.
Sure.
I mean, still sci-fi fantasy settings, but less of your elves and goblins. Mm-hmm. That could be a lot of fun, especially with some of the tutorials you were doing with building stuff with lights.
Lightsabers, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I end up going that way with a costume, that would for sure be a big thing.
Paranormal Month was one that we were tossing around as well.
I like that idea, and we've also, again, behind the scenes, we talked a lot about another project that we were excited about. That'll take a lot of work, but I think we want to do it. That's involving the paranormal, but that's an interest that I think you and I both share. Mm-hmm. That we could definitely dedicate a month of our regular content to that as well. Could be a lot of fun.
I think it's one that we should do and would go very well. Scheduling would be the trickier part with that one because it would require extra behind the scenes work, and there are certain connections we would need to make building up to that. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily want to wait as long as next October and Halloween.
Obviously, that would be the ideal time, but I feel like you can talk about the paranormal any time of year. That's okay.
You can.
One of the old traditions.
Ghosts are around us all the time anyways.
One of the old traditions in Victorian times was for Christmas, you would sit around and tell ghost stories.
Really?
And scare each other, yeah. So, sure, any time is ghost season.
Well, now that it's going to be January or end of December, the way to bring in the new year is to talk about old dead ghosts.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we've got this one, and this is an aberration on the list. I think this is probably going to get marked off, but Athletics Month.
Yeah, we call it Sports Month.
Yeah, no, that's...
Well, we talked about athletic nerdism.
Yeah, no, I'm joking. I think that's an important one.
I think it's one we should keep in the roster. For
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now I joke that we're unathletic because we're nerds, but I think that stigma has long since been destroyed.
Did our most recent conversation about Quidditch make it into the podcast? That
I don't remember if that was the lost episode or the previous episode, but playing Quidditch.
But I think and someone else created rules for the real Quidditch. Yeah. I say real for the book Quidditch of how it would make sense, how the rules and the points would make sense. But I think you talked once about recreating the Quidditch playable game, and make it make sense.
Yeah, make the rules actually work
and not obnoxious.
Yeah,
I think that would be cool.
Not designed around making your hero character the hero in every game.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one of the... Anyway, sorry. Sidetrack. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any ideas about where you'd want to start?
My favorite ones are some that are a little more inclusive, that we already have some sort of skill involved, and like paranormal would take some time.
Yes, I agree.
But Battle Month is always one of the ones I was excited about because that could even be competitive gameplay.
Sure.
And group gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, we could get online and play each other, or sit here in person and play some old school stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of overlap here. We talk about, a retro month. Well, in Battle Month, we might want to sit here and play Mario Kart 64. It's a retro game, but there's definitely a lot of battle involved with it.
Yes, there is.
So, yeah.
I was even thinking things like Smash Brothers.
Sure, yeah, Smash Brothers, Mario Party.
Anything that is a cooperative player versus player is kind of fun. Even the old Pac-Man, the Pac-Man game I have where one person plays Pac-Man, the other three play the Ghosts.
I love that.
It is so fun.
It is.
And it's one of those games where you very quickly get competitive.
Oh, yeah.
There's a game, you haven't played it, but I've told you before, and it's one of my wife's favorites, Dokapon. It's kind of RPG-based, with a little bit of Rochambeau in there as a combat mechanic.
Yeah.
It takes hours and hours to play.
Yeah.
But it can be loads of fun. It drives me crazy because I'm used to real RPGs where I could plan and defeat things, but sometimes it really is just down to luck, and you can lose over and over again even though you're trying the best gameplay methods. So Dokapon would be a fun one to throw in there.
Okay.
Another one that I think is strong is always Space Month.
Yeah.
We're in a big Star Wars craze right now.
We are, although Rogue One is come and gone. There's no other releases coming out anytime soon, so maybe that would be better to wait for a while and have it coincide with something. I don't know.
Could be. Well, and also one of the behind-the-scenes games that we were talking about putting in there, we would need to prep on that, but as soon as that was available, I think that would be so much fun.
Sure. Yeah.
Don't want to give that away because that's going to be hugely fun. And that is going to require casting on our part.
Yeah, we'd have to get a few people, the right people together, which we need to talk about doing that for several projects we've discussed. But
this is true.
But yeah, that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, I think that would take a little bit of prep to do.
Sounds like Space Month needs to wait a month or two, a couple extra months. What about Wizards and Witches? Fantasy?
Yeah, we could start there. I don't know. I like starting with battle.
I like starting with battle.
I mean, I'm happy with that.
Because I think that's going to give us immediate fun.
Sure. I mean, I'm ready to turn around and I could do some videos on that ASAP.
I'm going to wipe my hand off if it's a little sweaty. Extend it to you. Say Battle Month?
Yes.
All right.
All right, we'll start.
Everybody, officially, January is going to be Battle Month.
There you go. You've heard it here first on the FoundryCast.
About the FoundryCast.
About the FoundryCast, the Foundry in general. So we'll probably have some topics on next episode about battle stuff. I don't know. We'll discuss that when the time comes. Yeah, I like that. We'll start to get some videos together. I've actually got an idea that this works out really well. An idea that I wanted to do with you sooner rather than later that works really well in
this
this
Do I know about this one already?
No, you don't. It's gonna be a surprise.
Okay. That's the other thing.
It's going to be a surprise.
Right.
This is going to work out well, I think, to start with this.
This could also be really bad.
No, it's going to be delightfully awful.
All right. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about that, actually, and this gives me impetus to go on Steam tonight and buy something that I've been meaning to get forever, and I think it's on sale on Steam. The kitties are chiming in as well that they want to be part of Battle Month, apparently. They're currently fighting.
This is happening right now. It's two cats battling.
Okay. You guys gonna fight some? Yeah. Oh, it's going crazy. Oh no, it's battle time.
All right,
okay.
I put $5 on the fat one.
All right, I'm gonna break up the fight real quick.
And we'll move on.
We'll be back.
On the Lost episode, we talked a little bit about the Nintendo Switch.
We did.
We talked about the price point that had come out.
Yep. Unofficially,
what they're looking at. But there were some new rumors that have come out over the last few weeks. It's interesting that they have some insiders in the company that pass along information. Sometimes, more often than not, this one in particular is pretty, 85% likelihood what they say comes to pass.
Yeah.
But there have also been some other things that have to do with the copyrights that they're filing for the Nintendo Switch, which end up telling you more about the system's operating capacities. So I wanted to share with you a few of the rumors about the Nintendo Switch.
Please do. I haven't heard the newest stuff.
Now, this isn't the most groundbreaking, but some of it just comes to technical prowess of the machine. And we're not going to know until January 12th when a big unveiling presentation comes out. with a lot more of the specifics.
The actual official stuff is released, yeah.
One is that it looks like voice chat is considered. However, it doesn't look like it's going to be implemented necessarily. That you could do a person-to-person voice chat like you could through PlayStation or anything else.
Okay.
Another thing which seems a little meager is that the battery life on it is about 3 hours.
Ooh.
But that is running everything. So maybe it's the highest brightness setting.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a video quality that you could choose. I'm not exactly certain.
But that's minimum battery life, basically.
Minimum battery life, 3 hours. Which is not enough for a long flight to Tokyo.
Yeah.
It does have a USB recharge, so more and more things are having USB compatibility.
Right.
I don't necessarily... Are there USB chargers on airplanes? I haven't been on a flight in a couple years.
I'm sure new airplanes do. When I flew overseas last time, we did have like a 110 volt, like a regular wall socket plug, I think, on our
Did they have like a lighter, like in my car, that I could plug in one of those adapters
No, because you're not allowed to smoke on airplanes, so no.
Well, no, it's not for smoking anymore. It's not even for smoking in your car.
Yeah,
that's
to charge a thing. No, but I don't know. I think they do actually these days have USB drives, so who knows? That could help.
Here's one that I know some of our friends would be pretty thrilled about. Looks like there might be a record button.
Oh, like a record and stream kind of thing? Like
a record and stream, or record to stream later for like PlayStation.
Yeah.
That would be a separate button that might be on one of the controllers.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't... my concern with the size of the system would just be storage space, but I guess these days with flash storage, that's probably
Here's the next thing. The storage on it appears to be 32 gigabyte.
Ouch.
With micro SD cards...
Yeah.
Supporting up to 128 gigabyte.
Yeah.
Still kind of small.
Because it's not... I don't think it's... At least it looks like it's not going to have an optical drive. I wonder, does it have a cartridge slot, though? I don't remember if I've heard for sure one way or another.
The last things we heard were still cartridge.
Because I'm just concerned if it ends up being like where you don't get a physical media and you have to download all your games...
it looks like it's going to be both. There was limited amount of information that there's only going to be a few retro, like console, virtual console games at release date.
Well, those are tiny. Yeah, that's not a big. I'm just thinking if you have to download the Zelda game, that's going to be at least 8 or 10 gigs at minimum, and that'd be a small game these days.
So it doesn't seem like it's going to have a huge memory, but micro SD cards are getting cheaper.
It's true.
By the minute.
Yeah.
I was impressed to see how cheap I could get one for my camera. I'm like, wow, this thing's... It's got hours and hours of video I could put on there. Yeah. But then again, I'm still kind of like an old school where if I don't need it, I get rid of it. I don't store it anymore. Like, clean it off. I need more space. Like, no, I've got plenty of space.
I still remember when I bought my first USB stick in college. And it was $60 for 128 megabytes.
It's not even a joke.
And I was like, man, that thing is huge.
I had like a 2 gigabyte that cost me about $50 at one point.
Yeah.
And I remember the next Christmas, for some reason, my stepmother bought me like a 4 gigabyte thumb drive. And I was like, this must have cost you a fortune. She's like, no, it was like $20 at Walmart.
Yeah,
I hadn't bought a new one in forever. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, it's getting so cheap. So,
absolutely.
The micro SD is going to help a lot. This is stuff that apparently, so they're doing the copyright claims and all that filing, and it tells a little bit, but not everything.
Right.
It looks like it will be Bluetooth compatible for add-ons of some kind.
I'm sure the controllers will be Bluetooth. Yeah,
but and it will have Amiibo support.
Oh, good.
For whatever reason,
dying for that. Yeah.
I know Amiibo has made Nintendo millions of dollars.
They bank on that side. That's not surprising at all.
But I don't really know how useful it is.
Yeah, it depends on the game, I guess. I don't know. You're a big Skylanders fan, so you can I'm sure see how those import.
Yeah, but that's not even Amiibo. It's its own thing. Right. Skylanders, they had to create their own technology because the Amiibo thing wasn't working yet. Yeah. Not 3G or LTE capable. That hurts. Now, they weren't going to necessarily make this its own cell phone.
Right. Yeah.
That connectivity.
It just means you're not going to be able to play wirelessly wherever you go. You'll need a wireless connection.
Have to have and that was kind of assumed anyways, but...
That's okay. I mean, I'd hate to pay for the data bill to play
What if you already have it? What if you already have some sort of special deal that whoever... I'm not going to give any plug to any phone company, but this phone company says... Some of them already have unlimited data.
Hey, if you have that, then get one of their phones that you can create a wireless hotspot with, and there you go.
That's true. Yeah. Is there any degradation for that wireless hotspot?
Oh yeah, it's slower than normal, but I mean,
wouldn't be worth it.
If you're still playing over a phone line, what does it matter? I know 3G is quick, but it's not that quick. It's not as quick as a normal wireless, so I think it'd be okay. I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know. Voice chat is strange because this doesn't feel like a remote multiplayer console. It feels like a local multiplayer console.
Sort of what they're going for, but I think they're still trying to keep some options open for that as a possibility.
I guess they're still trying to make it a normal home console as well.
I'm just imagining you and I sitting in the same room trying to talk to each other through headphones and a microphone.
We're playing with the voice chat on.
Yeah. Dude, I can't hear you. I'm right here.
We'll see. I don't know. I mean, the news that we talked about in our previous Lost episode, that's I think still the most exciting news was the price point. It's what, $299?
Price is reasonable.
Which is phenomenal. I mean, was it $199? No, it was $299, right?
It was $299.
I was terrified.
So we said $259 would be too cheap. Like $259 to $299 is a golden spot.
Yeah, I was terrified it was going to be $450 or $400 or something. like that.
They couldn't. If their handhelds. Oh, there's something else I'll mention in a second. If their handhelds are not running nearly that price, and that's more than double, there's no way they can satisfy with what it can't do that the mobile system still can.
Right.
One of the things I read said that it may still have touchscreen capability. And I need to research this more.
I hope so.
I could see why they wouldn't, because when you put it in the toaster, when you put it in the little dock, you can't touch the screen or do anything.
Right.
You're still using the little dummy remotes that they give you. You don't have any touchscreen capability to what's on your TV. So you're losing that second screen. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like they're abandoning the second screen concept. Mm-hmm. So you might be able to touch the screen here, but now they have to create what that means in the computer code or in the game. When you dock it, now how do you touch the screen with your controller?
It's just tough to imagine a modern portable that doesn't have touchscreen. I mean, when you look at gaming as it is now on your phone, that's all touchscreen.
There's no other thing but touchscreen.
So the idea of playing a modern, and if you look at even the DS and 3DS is touchscreen as well, isn't it? On one of the screens,
the bottom screen.
You still have your stylus and everything. So imagine taking that away is kind of crazy to me. I can understand how the integration to the home console side of it, like you're saying, might be weird. Mm-hmm. But I can't imagine playing a handheld.
Then again, Nintendo games are not Minesweeper. They're not.
Right.
They're not swiping left and right. They're a bit more than that. They're telling different kinds of stories. So I can see how they could make that as a choice, but they are somewhat taking a step back. But Nintendo's had to do that a lot. They integrated a piece of technology. It works pretty good. It doesn't go the direction they want. Then they had to pull back. I mean, even this last year, Nintendo has made leaps and bounds in the way we do gaming. Yeah. Pokemon Go just exploded the idea of augmented reality, and for the first time made it kind of make sense.
Yeah.
They had their first ever mobile game, the Super Mario Run.
Yeah, Super Mario Run.
But that didn't really do anything all that spectacular.
It's okay.
And then the Nintendo Mini, they brought back retro gaming in a different way and still made a lot of money off of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I give them kudos to the direction they're going, and they're not afraid to take risks. Although sometimes you just wonder, was that really the right way to go?
Yeah, I mean, you still look back at the Wii, and are we sitting here playing with waggle controllers today? No, we're not. There is some motion involved.
Motion control is still huge,
but it's not what it was for the Wii. Right. But if you also look back and say, would the Wii have been as good without it? No. That made the Wii what it was, and it's still fun to go back and play Wii Sports. Mm-hmm. One of the launch titles for the game is still tremendously fun to play because of those controls.
Well, and what they did is what every game system after that wanted to do, is have controllers that could sense tilt and pitch and yaw and all that.
Do that now, but like I said, when I sit down and play Grand Theft Auto on my PS4, I don't use those controls at all. I don't care. So.
Well, Nintendo Switch is going to be a big deal, and I can't wait to hear more about it in just a few weeks.
I'm doing everything I can to be number one in line to get mine. I can tell you that much. They've sold me on it so far. So.
I'll start saving now.
Me too. So, super quick topic I just wanted to touch on, only because, again, it got lost in our last episode.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about it. I know you are, too. We live in a little city called Asheville in North Carolina. If you've never been here, come and visit. It's a great place. And
it is for now, anyways.
Sure, it's nice, especially January, actually, because all the tourists go home.
That's right. It
becomes our city again for a brief period.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very excited to hear. There's an article that came out not too long ago that a new board game bar is going to be opening in downtown Asheville early next year in 2017, called Well Played, which is a cute name, but it's not a new model. It's been around for a while, but new to Asheville. It's a bar where you can go and have an adult beverage, and I'm assuming probably some snacky type foods. Mm-hmm. And they'll have a large library of board games for you to choose from and play while you're there.
Well, nowadays, to even open a bar, we're sort of in a town with a pretty high saturation point for
absolutely
eateries and drinkeries. Yeah. Bar, you better have something going for you.
Yeah.
There's one called the Vault because it's an actual bank. There used to be a bank and it has a vault, and you can go and drink in the vault.
Right.
That's a really cute idea. You just take advantage of what you have. This is a decent location on Wall Street.
Yeah.
They're doing something a little different. I'm excited to check it out. I've had some concerns about spillage of food and drinks on the games because some of those are really expensive.
Yeah.
How much is your Hero Quest game worth?
Oh, last I looked, because I have all the pieces, but they're not in perfect shape. I could probably get on eBay, buy it now, probably $200 to $250.
I was about to say about at least $200.
If
$200.
the right bid, maybe $300 or $350.
So let's say I'm just some dingus slinging hot coffee around. And it soaks into the cardboard of some of those little
ruins
bits.
My Hero Quest.
Yeah, you're going to say, "Excuse me, sir, that's going to cost you $300 to replace."
I can't imagine they're going to have anything like that available.
I think they would.
In the article, they listed all of the games they listed were modern board games.
Candyland?
No, thankfully not Candyland. Although I bet you they'll probably have a copy of Candyland. It was like Ticket to Ride. I'm sure they'll have like Pandemic, Eldritch Horror, those types of games. No, point taken, they're not cheap, but I got to imagine that something like that, your business model, you're not going to be too worried about it. If you have to spend a couple $100 a month to replace some games, that's probably not too bad.
And so, from what you saw, it's going to serve alcohol.
Yes, I mean that's the core.
So now I'm sure they have to have some strict rules like no cheating. Settle fights outside, because if you bring me in there and I'm playing Monopoly and I'm drinking, it's just not going to go nicely. Because I'm probably going to be losing, and I'm going to accuse someone of cheating, including with the banker.
Yeah, I mean, I assuming they won't necessarily police the gameplay itself. Although it does say that they will have quote-unquote game masters who will guide newcomers through the experience. So I'm sure they'll, if you come in and you're like, oh, let me have a pint of this, and then, hey, I want to play a game. Do you have any recommendations? Somebody will be like, oh, I'm a big fan of Monopoly. You should play that.
Yeah, let me give you the brief tutorial on how to play it.
Yeah. So, let me see. I'm sorry. Well Played will also locally source comfort snack foods, desserts and beverages, craft beer, wine, and full coffee. Okay. Yeah.
That sounds like really expensive foods.
We'll see. I mean, that'll be kind of the thing, is like, if this is going to become, and so many things in our city do, because it is a giant tourist town,
yeah.
It becomes not for us locals, it becomes for the out-of-towners, and it becomes $20 plate entrees and that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them if it becomes that. If it's you can get a basket of fries for $15. Yeah, I'm not going there. But if it's fries are $5 and a pint is $4, sure, let's go hang out there.
I'm going to go. I'm going to check it out.
No, definitely, we'll be there.
But I want to see. Like, I'm so excited to see, because they clearly have a good business idea. Mm-hmm. And they may even have found another business like this that was successful.
Yeah, it's worked in other places.
I'm really excited to go in and just check it out. Sure. And say hello to the staff and is the manager, is the owner here today? Yeah. Like, hey, I just want to shake your hand. Thanks for doing this.
This is a great idea.
Cool.
Thank you for bringing it.
Thank you for bringing something that's kind of associated with nerd culture to Asheville, because I don't think we have enough of it.
Not at all. I mean, there's another place downtown that I honestly thought would have folded a long time ago, and apparently they do okay. And I've yet to go there, and it pains me to no end, and maybe we should do this as a video very soon. But the Asheville Pinball Museum.
Take me.
We should go to the Asheville Pinball.
Take me on a mandate.
We should go, and I know it's not going to fit into Battle Month, but we could make it work. We could play a pinball competition.
Maybe we see who gets the highest score.
But January would be a great time, because this is the downturn in the tourist season. Maybe we could actually go in there and... But similar model. They have bunches of pinball machines and arcade games, and you can go in there and have a beer and play your game. Similar idea of, we're drawing you in with our games, and we're making money off the alcohol.
Well, before I go to the Pinball Museum, I want to go to Well Played.
Okay.
So we need to keep an eye out for that. We need to go.
Yep.
And that could be where we do our battle. We could get some people together and find some sort of... play Munchkin.
Sure.
That's one heck of a battle game.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I've ever seen one.
If they're open in time by the end of the month.
It said early 2017?
That's what I last read. I haven't heard anything newer than that, although I could be wrong. They might have an actual date now. But last I heard, early 2017.
In this week's Table Topics, I wanted to cover something that... I wanted to invite you into, but timing didn't work. I love the idea of having thematic games incorporating the holiday or the season that you're in.
Sure.
It's almost like the Star Wars Christmas special, except not terrible. In my Pathfinder game, kind of the way we wrapped up the current storyline was I did a Halloween-inspired game. So it was over the 2 weeks leading up to Halloween.
Right.
And it was more about ghosts and scary things than I had been doing before, because the plot lines didn't have as much to do with things beyond the grave.
Yeah.
And so I went even more down that road. Had some fun elements with... I turned out the lights at one point because I have remote controls to...
nice.
I have a little switch you can plug things into and just turn it off from distance. Usually used for like Christmas lights.
Yeah, for your tree, but...
So out of nowhere, boom, boom, I turn off the lights, I hit one more button, I had this glowing blue and orange on the ceiling, and it was just really, really kind of creepy, and the music was creepy, and everyone's like, what the heck is going on?
Nice.
It was perfect for Halloween and got us in the mood.
Yeah.
I could imagine doing something like that for Christmas. There's a YouTube channel that I subscribed to where they did a game about going and trying to find Santa Claus in this bleak Dungeons & Dragons setting where there's a blood moon and this terrible wrath comes through, and only this man known as Santa Claus can turn away the evil and give hope to the children.
Yeah.
And it was really kind of cool. I didn't get to finish it yet because it's hours and hours long.
Yeah.
But what do you think about doing themed games based on birthdays, based on holidays?
Yeah, I think it's the idea is a lot of fun, and I think, if you're playing a regular game where you're playing every week for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, it can be a really nice way of breaking it up for the player, and also as from a GM standpoint, if you're getting to the point where you're like, oh, I'm not sure where to take this storyline, but I know that we're going to be finishing this current arc right around Halloween, just because Halloween's a great example.
Yes.
Great, now I can do a Halloween game, and that gives me time to recharge, refocus, figure out something. Mm-hmm. It also gives you the chance to explore different things with your same characters. I like the idea of doing like dream games, whatever. It turns out this is all just a dream. But,
sure.
But for that night, you all are trying to save Santa Claus, and it lets
sort of
you
out of time. I heard someone else call it the Danger Room, like for X-Men.
Yeah. It's a Danger Room game. That's good. But yeah, it lets you explore your game and let your players explore their characters in different ways and potentially not necessarily consequence-free ways, but things that aren't going to affect your plot that you've already laid out. And then if you can tie that into like, oh yeah, it was all a dream, but you all get to keep one item you found during the adventure, then it somehow materializes next to your bed or something. Yeah,
that was all a dream, and then you still maybe bear the scar of the grievous wound that you took.
It's like a bonus round in a game show or something. Or you just get to add on. Plus, I think it's tying into everybody's excitement. Talking about like Christmas and the holidays. And all your friends are really excited because it's the holidays and we're celebrating, we're getting together, we're giving gifts. You can channel that energy into your game by theming your game around that as well.
I think there are a few ways that I've done and seen for a listener or someone to do this like themselves, ways to incorporate the season. Number one would be to use the idea of the season. For instance, if it is Christmas, and as far as the non-religious version of Christmas, it's the idea of giving and being charitable. Sure. So what you could do as the GM is if you were going to give any presents to your players, that would be the night to do it. And maybe create a scenario when the players are having to bring tithes, bring food to an impoverished town, and have the people be very thankful. And so that when you battle the bad guys, you're liberating this town, you're doing goodly deeds. Something different maybe outside of the story that you're already telling. So if it's Halloween and it's a little more about ghosts and goblins, you just take it down that theme of the supernatural. I was thinking Valentine's Day would be a prime time one because it's about love. So maybe some little imp is running around and there are love potions going awry, and then maybe you actually have a moment where all the characters are drunk off this love potion wine and they don't know it, and then you ask them all to say really nice things about each other's characters. And then it becomes a really interesting character building moment where
I don't know, you have to be careful about that if you have a situation where two of your players are a couple.
No, that would be normal.
You got to be careful though that you're inviting romantic.
They don't get too enamored.
Maybe
amorous.
Maybe they start flirting with somebody else's character, and then you're creating.
Well, it would be more like infatuation. That the two people who can't stand each other, finally say, "I really respect what you've done," and that would just totally open up the game for the future, especially if it's a long game that you're planning to play for weeks and weeks to come. Yeah. Another way to do it would be to pervert the idea of the season. So go the opposite way.
Absolutely, yeah.
So back to Valentine's Day. So instead of it being about love, there are these little small cherubic creatures that are shooting poisoned arrows at people. Yeah. I've read where someone did a Halloween one where this pumpkin patch came to life and was rotten, and people being just crushed by these huge pumpkins, and the vines are trapping them. Yeah. So there was some sort of supernatural element as well. But to not necessarily make it so on the nose, but take the ideas of it. And that's what I did. It was more about having to go into a graveyard, having to solve the puzzle and get down into a crypt. Yeah. And then they fought this supernatural entity which seemed to be unbeatable. And the effects it was having on the characters felt really unusual, unnatural, as if their life essence is being pulled out of them. The way I described it made it sound really macabre and really ghastly. Right. And so when it was over, thank God that's done with. And over the course of 2 games, meant for it to only be 1 game in the first place, but you know how those go.
Yeah, that happens.
Worst thing to happen to the game as the player sometimes. But it was, in my opinion, and for most of the players, a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have come up with that idea if I didn't decide to take them down that route for a Halloween game.
Right.
And it has since then informed part of the story going forward.
Yeah, it's always fun when you can, if you do a holiday theme, an aside story that you can tie it back in like that at the end.
So not an essential thing, but I think it's helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other aspect of it that I was thinking of was even beyond holidays. We were talking about seasons just in general. And we're sitting here tonight. It's pretty chilly out, very windy. We've got the fire going in here. And so that's another aspect of it, too, is if it's a cold night and you're playing, you can you can really bring people into that world if you start the game and you're huddled around a warm hearth, drinking hot chocolate, cocoa.
And how cool would it be to, all right, everyone, there's no table.
Yeah.
We're all going to sit around the fire.
Yeah, exactly.
We're actually going to sit here.
You can kind of
get
incorporate that in.
And we've all huddled together in this inn. It's cold and blustery outside. Then you start, and keep it more narrative. But that would be so fun.
Well, we've done that in the past where we had the ability in one of my games in the past, and we didn't really tie it into the game itself, but we got to play outside. We had a venue where we could go outside, and it was nice, warm nights, and we were able to sit out there and enjoy that, and that was fun. But if you take that too, and then you mentioned like inverting it, that's another way to do it too. Is like, okay, it's cold and wintry. Let's play a game where your party are in the tropics and it's warm and sunshiny and you're on the beach, and that could be fun too. And that can pique people's interest as well. It's like, it's like we're on vacation to the tropics when it's cold and wintry outside.
I can't wait to get back in the game. Why? Because it's warm there. It's cold here.
Because we're drinking Mai Tais on the beach.
I think if you're going to do a holiday theme, it's not integral to the game, and you shouldn't do it all the time. But maybe once or twice a year, if you've got a group party together, adding a food element, especially if it's something that they're going to be drinking whilst in that tavern. Hey, it's Thanksgiving, so maybe your actual group gets together and has a meal together. Yeah. Start the game in the middle of the eating.
Yeah,
and that you're at the table.
Feast,
talk about the garbage you just went through in the previous game as you're eating. When you have to get up and throw your plate away, your character gets up and goes to the bathroom or something like that. The more immersed you can be with the feelings you already have. If you're having a tough time, maybe you want to escape the world, but if you're feeling the holiday spirit, why not just let that elevate your game to the next level, make it something even more memorable than it was before. So as we mentioned before, a lot about Star Wars. Rogue One recently released and had a pretty good box office success.
Yeah, it did well.
Some people tried to say, it was a failure because it didn't make as much as Force Awakens. There was no way it was going to make as much money as Force Awakens. It's a semi-sequel. But it did fairly well. I got to see it, not opening weekend, but early that next week.
Yeah.
I was able to avoid pretty much any spoilers.
I did as well.
Online.
Yeah.
Although I had a feeling of some of the things to come, although I didn't expect others.
Yeah.
And overall, I mean, maybe I should say spoiler alert in case I blurt anything out.
Let's just say that now. We're going to talk about the movie. We're not going to... It's been out long enough, but still, we're not going to pull any punches on spoilers. If you haven't seen Rogue One...
Just pause right now.
Skip it. Yeah, go see it.
Then go see it and come back. And then feel free to disagree with us, because we know with the viewership that we have, there may be some disagreements, and that's okay. What we've been learning in our friendship circles and in professional circles, some people got to learn to disagree, man. And this movie makes me think of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll say right off the bat, I didn't like it.
Didn't like it at all. Or
there was very little I liked. I'll say that. And so that's a controversial opinion for sure, because everybody's saying, it's the best Star Wars movie ever made. Okay.
No, I don't know who would say that.
I've heard several people say that it's their most favorite or second most favorite Star Wars movie.
Any of those people that I know?
No, not our close friends, but I've seen reviews online and stuff.
It's a good movie for what it is, I think. I can understand why it might not be someone's favorite.
Yeah.
I can't understand necessarily why someone wouldn't like it, because if you're a Star Wars fan, it has just enough pulpiness for you to get your Star Wars fix, without it having to tell this crazy, unique, brand new story. The characters were not amazingly developed, but just enough for you to kind of give a damn before things go awry at the end.
I couldn't get into... The only characters I cared even the slightest amount about...
Say his name?
Were... That's a great question, because I don't remember anybody's name for the movies.
No, you know his name.
Who, Donnie Yen? I love Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen was good. He played Chirrut Inoue.
Sure. I'm sure
he was the martial artist.
Yeah, he was the blind guy.
No.
The two Temple Guardians.
Yeah.
They were fun. They played off each other in a fun way. They weren't deep characters, but they were interesting.
You knew who they were as soon as you met them.
They had a backstory that was hinted at, that wasn't explored, that was really cool.
That I would love to read.
I would love
that
to see
book.
a movie about those guys. All the other characters, with basically out exception, were not that. There was no backstory. There was nothing to draw me in.
The Jin Urso backstory was basically just plot fodder.
It was
which is
entirely uninteresting, and
clearly there was a lot of rewrites and reshoots.
Yeah, I think that it was when we were watching. I'll say it, I didn't see this movie of my own volition. I was kind of taken to see it, which is great. I didn't have to pay for it. Thank you very much to my brother who took me. But they were like, "Oh, you got to come see it with us." I'm like, "All right, fine." I really didn't want to see it just because I wasn't excited about it. But yeah, sitting there and I was just let down. I don't know. There wasn't a good arc for anybody. Jin's backstory was dull, and
there was a couple small plot holes that I think no insult to Gareth Edwards.
Oh yeah, the director.
Is Gareth Edwards.
Yeah.
Nothing against him. I think he was given an awkward opportunity to be amazingly successful. I think he did the best with it, and I think it's one that's going to grow on us over time.
Maybe.
Because of what happens is you watch A New Hope and it's over, you're like, what just happened?
Yeah,
who's that guy? Where did he go? And by the time the trilogy was over, a lot more of it made sense. I have a feeling, and I could be very wrong, I have a feeling that they're going to blend these Star Wars stories just enough where they kind of tell a piece of their own additional narrative. Yeah. By the time it's all over, the septology, the decadology, whatever it ends up being, it's going to be more than that. It's a dodecadology.
Sure.
When it's done, I think the whole story will be a much more lavish fabric.
Yeah, I don't know. I would feel that way if the movie were just more enjoyable. If it were, I found everything in the film to be hyper predictable. Every scene would start and I would know how that scene was going to end.
Yeah, kind of.
But every scene would drag out for 10 or 15 minutes. That's what I'll say about Gareth Edwards is his visually is stunning. The opening scenes of that movie are great. It's just beautiful.
And you know that place that they shot the Urso's home was what they found on the last day of a scout.
Oh, okay.
They're like, we're not finding some stuff. Let's keep looking. They finally landed in that little area.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful. They could imagine the setup and, okay, this is it. And then when they came to film, it was too nice. So they had to go back in and CG and take out some of the grass. Because it was so grassy, it looked fake on film.
I can believe that. It was a beautiful location. It was like, wow, it felt fake because it was so beautiful. It was like, oh, there's no place on Earth that looks that
there is.
Cool. Yeah, that's neat to know. No, but visually the movie's great. And that's all it's got going for it. I felt like the pacing was just so bad. Every scene dragged on too long. You're let me see this lavish visual, but there's nothing else to go behind it. And then they kept punching in these stupid, useless references that threw me completely out. It wasn't all the references in episode 7, and there were a bunch of of fan service, we'll call it, in episode 7. And I know there were some reviewers that kind of were like, "Oh, it was too much." I felt like it was almost too much in episode 7, but it was still good.
Yeah.
With Rogue One, every single little bit of fan service was terrible. Was just out of place. What this movie felt like to me was, it was to Star Wars as J.J. Abrams' Star Trek is to Star Trek.
Yeah.
It was a action-packed, flashy, new movie set in a universe and made by people that didn't really understand that universe.
I disagree, but only because I think they're breaking new ground here. The Star Wars movies are canon.
Sure. Yeah.
Any of the extended universe and Star Wars Legends do not exist anymore. They are their own separate universe.
Uh-huh.
God bless them. They're great. Mm-hmm. But they're not going to necessarily matter when it comes to ultimate decisions for this universe. So the only things that matter are the movies and the new cartoons. So what you and I and some other fans haven't caught up with is Star Wars Rebels or the entire Clone Wars saga.
I've heard that Forrest Whitaker's character is in Clone Wars, I think.
He will be in Rebels. I don't know if he was ever in Clone Wars.
He was in Clone Wars. I don't know. He's explored more in other things. And that was like completely wasted in the film. That's one of my complaints about the film is like he's there and then he's dead and he dies completely meaninglessly for apparently no reason. He's just there to sort of move the plot along.
The way you took Yoda and the limited amount of time that he had, he was only supposed to be in the second movie. At first, he wasn't going to be in the third. He was going to basically just walk off into Dagobah and never be seen again. They brought him back because he's important. And they were able to tell enough of a story that you cared about him, you liked him, and you knew him. Which is something they didn't do with some other characters. Like Saw Gerrera, I got the idea that he was a protector of her, but then the next thing I know about him is he's this crazy militant, willing to kill. And this is what they said about this movie. The bad guys can still be good guys. The good guys can still be bad guys. And I cared more about Krennic with the Empire than I gave a crap about Saw Gerrera.
He was an interesting character. He was fun because it was like he's a bad guy and he was caught up in like he was mad about the bureaucracy, which was an interesting take.
Like, don't take away my project. I've worked hard for this.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I've worked for the honor of the... But at the same time, that kind of made him toothless as a villain. He was not Darth Vader. He wasn't like...
He wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to be. But that, in a war movie, it's like, why was he even there?
Well, he was kind of pitiable, where you kind of could see how he was a bastard, but he also still thought he was doing the right thing. Yeah. And then he did go before Vader and got taught that he is nothing. And he still felt like, I need to get this done or it's my butt.
See, I would have preferred if that was his last scene in the film. If Vader had killed him or fired him or whatever. Like, that would have been better for me because then he's just kind of another actor in the Empire. For him to be at the end and have this like action scene on the roof or whatever
that didn't make sense.
It wasn't good.
Well, it was clearly that was part of the reshoots, and if you look back at the previews that we all saw that got excited for,
none of those shots are in the film
where he was just walking beautifully through the water with his cape. Like, he had to walk from one building to another. Even Jen and flippin' what's his name, who I want to get to in a second,
Ricardo Montalban.
Cassian Andor are running across the beach holding that little card that they needed.
Reason. Yeah, there's a scene with them running towards an AT-AT.
So I had a feeling it was probably a chase between point A and point B.
Right.
Which they got rid of. It just had it all be point C.
Yeah.
Which I can understand why they would have done some reshoots like that. But when I care more about the toothless villain and
then the main characters of your film, or the characters that are dedicated to telling the backstory of your main character, I guess you should say.
Jen Erso, the actress, I can't remember her name. I think she did a fine job. I think she's a solid enough lead. She's better than a Katniss Everdeen, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't think she's a bad actress. I think she
has
nothing to work with. Her character was it was like she's there, and then she's a grumpy grump, and then.
Well, what
2
this really
seconds
could have
later,
been...
she's telling inspirational speeches to people, and it made no sense.
I hate to say this. This could have been 2 movies. This could have been the Rogues getting together, and then the story of Rogue One.
Yeah.
Almost as if they were a team. And what we talked about before seeing the movies, before this movie, was it appears and feels as if this is a Star Wars role-playing game group getting together, the actual Jyn Erso backstory is just the machinations of the GM's girlfriend writing a story.
Yeah.
And we just getting to see through it. But then with them all together is the party getting together, playing a few games, getting to know each other, getting to respect, maybe not like each other, but work together. The second half of the movie would have been the downfall of those on the Rogue One.
Yeah.
That could have been spread out and told in a different way in 2 movies. I hate to say that.
Well,
that would have been a lot more satisfying.
You can tell it in one movie, and I've had this discussion with other people. There's a couple films that spring to mind, and probably the best analog of what I think this film should have been is The Dirty Dozen.
I was going to say The Usual Suspects.
That's another actually really good example I hadn't even thought about. That's another film that it's through narration, which doesn't really fit a Star Wars film.
Sure.
But through narration, you're able to set up fairly quickly a group of characters, put them in some fun situations, and then put them in a final situation.
Well, I think they ultimately did that. The problem is it was the vanilla-ness, the milquetoastness of your leads. Because the girl playing Jyn Erso as a character, it makes sense, but I'm not enthralled with her at all because I never felt like she didn't
have
anything.
a character.
The idea that she had the Force crystal.
Yeah, well, they didn't
matter.
Didn't even touch on that at all.
So could it have been that she was more Force sensitive? Can we explore that? That tells me more about her and why she survived on her own as a little girl. But you get to Cassian Andor, who for a moment you kind of show us that he's a bastard because he shoots somebody.
Yeah, that's the first scene when we see him when he shoots the informant. Oh, it was great. He's like, I can't trust this guy not to talk. He's going to screw up my escape. I'm going to, boom, I'm done. I'm out of here. No, it's brilliant. That was a great scene.
From that moment on, couldn't care less about him.
Right. He didn't do anything else after that. Well, then he had a scene where he goes up to assassinate Jin's father, right? He's been ordered to do this. And he doesn't. And she still gets mad at him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, he didn't kill.
He was given an order to.
She's like, how could... This was after the fact. After he'd violated an order to kill her father. She's like, how can you just blindly follow orders? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, he didn't blindly follow orders. He refused the order.
Well, because they need to do the classic thing where the love interests
they're fighting each other. Like, there was... Like, every scene was like that. It was just like, oh, this is gonna... Literally, like, every scene in the film would start, and I would be like, oh... This is going to be a great setup for what's going to happen. Yeah. And then they played it out in the stupidest, blandest way possible. And it, like, every scene started at like an 8 out of 10 and ended at like a 2 out of 10 for me. Just literally scene after scene until we got to the end.
How would you rewrite that scene? How would you... Because I'm imagining, what if he could have done 2 things. One, what if he shot Krennic in the shoulder to maybe give what's his name, Galen Erso, a fighting chance, something like that.
Yeah.
Because all the other scientists were shot. It's just him and these soldiers. Boom, Krennic gets winged, goes down. He tries to escape. She sees this and like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
I was sent there to assassinate him, and that's not me anymore. And then could that be a?
I would have written it to where he shoots her father. If you want to be in this film, like, that's what all the reviews are saying, is like, oh, they're trying something different with Star Wars. It's not a normal Star Wars film. The good guys are bad guys, etc. Okay, you want to do that? Let's do that. We've already shown this guy is all he cares about is getting the mission done. He'll kill whoever. Have him step in there and shoot her dad. Have him do it.
But then he's not a redeemed character in any way.
Why does he need to be redeemed?
Because all the heroes, and he's supposed to be a hero, is that he gets redeemed.
Why he gets redeemed at the end when he helps? Like, why does he have to be? Why do we have to have these touchy-feely, feel-good moments?
It doesn't have to be feel-good, but it has to be the moment where you go, enough's enough. And he didn't do that until kind of the end because he kind of decided to kind of care.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is like, I'd rather him just be an irredeemable jerk than...
But even Han Solo wasn't an irredeemable jerk.
Of course, because that's not who Han Solo is. I'm not going to love this guy like Han Solo is. No. Okay.
But he was clearly kind of the Han Solo.
Yeah, but they blew him up at the end. You can't try and make a Han Solo character and blow him up at the end. Of course, I'm not going to care about any character in the end of this film that gets blown up.
Well, that's part of what they did. They didn't want you to love these characters so much that when they get blown up at the end, you go, "What the?"
So then, what's the point?
The point is,
why do I care about?
You care about them enough.
Well, I don't. I didn't.
You care about the story.
Why do
enough.
I care about this film at all?
What you care about is the last 5 minutes of the movie where you go,
visually
"Holy
great."
crap!" That last 5 minutes of the movie was mind blowing.
Okay, well, just show me that on YouTube. I don't need to go. If you want me to see a cool space battle, I'm all about cool space battles. That sounds like fun, but I'm not gonna. I don't try and polish it.
It is
pan it
not,
off as a film.
You got to remember, it's not Star Wars. It is not the main line. This is a good backstory.
I'm fine with that. I don't mind having something different.
This shows us the willingness that the rebels, like this small squad of people, decided to go and risk their lives, and the rest of the rebellion said, "Crap, we got to do something about this."
Also, I didn't like what they did with that. I don't like the idea that the rebellion was squabbling that much. They've been together for 15 years fighting the Empire, and all of a sudden they're going to disagree with each. It didn't. That made no sense.
It more about really we need to finally fight and not hide.
Okay,
but then they went to hide.
Well, shouldn't they all agree to do that? I don't know. That just felt really weird and off message. From if you look at episode 4, there is no debate. There is no division in the rebellion.
Well, there isn't anymore. That's why.
Okay.
Lawyered.
let's set that up a little bit more.
Yeah,
let's not. If we want to explore, the politics of the rebellion, let's make a movie about that. That sounds like fun.
No, it doesn't.
Sounds like a lot more fun than Rogue One.
Well, that's what it was. And another reviewer, someone, maybe Gareth, heard the negativity about episodes 1 through 3, and said they took a children's movie and still explained how good people can become fascists and dictators.
Yeah,
I was like, damn, that's pretty adept.
Yeah.
Kids movie teaches you how good people can get in a really bad situation.
So then he took an adult's movie and told a child simplistic story with it.
He still kind of continued that. Let's take especially and I'm not even going to get into how the shoots might have had anything to do with the political atmosphere of the United States right now. Or how there is no, I don't see any connections. Oh, it's political beyond that? No.
I didn't find the film to be political at all.
Some people are trying to quote
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure they are.
But there is the light. And the light is, there were some great moments, and what I did like about Chirrut Inouye, or how do you, Imine, I don't remember how to pronounce his name. He was a Force-sensitive Force user, not a Jedi, not a Sith.
He did not use the Force. He very specifically said he didn't use the Force.
Did he say that?
He says it multiple times. He doesn't use the Force. He doesn't. He just is part of the flow of the Force.
He trusts the Force.
It's an interesting. It's a really interesting, way of looking at what the Force is.
I feel like he knows he's part of the Force, and therefore he trusts it. That's why he shoots his bow at the place, and he just allows that the Force is going to take care of it.
Right.
He's
not consciously using the Force.
No, he's not.
Like.
Trust me. Yeah, sorry. I mean, forgive me, not using the Force, but that he's maybe Force sensitive. He's sensitive to it.
He's allowing the Force to use him.
Yeah. Which I love.
That is a great character. Yeah, that's those two characters. They have
and then the one who is, I am everything but the Force. I am strength. I am ammunition. I will blow a hole through that wall. I need nothing.
You and your hokey religion, kid. Yeah, that was, like I said, that was those two. I want to see a movie about those two guys.
No kidding.
I want to see that movie. I don't care about. I mean, I guess the most interesting character aside from them is probably. I don't know anybody's name.
No, say it.
But
you know it.
The
K2SO.
Good Lord, no.
Hell yes. Alan Tudyk. As the most bitchy
waste of a role.
No, that was so great.
All he did was he made one liner after one liner. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it.
But they were all good, and as soon as you thought he was going to say something like, "Okay, I trust you," because he tells me to.
Yeah,
all of them, and then
I don't know.
Anytime a droid makes a noble sacrifice, that means a lot to me.
I think I didn't like his character just because the characters around him I hated so much. I think if it had been a group of fun characters that I enjoyed, I would have liked him a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he was necessarily a bad character. He was just in a really bad position. But the other character I liked more than the others was the Imperial pilot. Again.
Bodhi?
No idea. Yeah,
Bodhi.
Sure. He was a fun character because he was like, I'm trying to help you guys. Why are you beating the crap out of me? I'm trying to help you. Like, he was a fun character. Yeah. And then they played with something that I thought was going to get really fun where they put him in with the monster and it's sucking out his brain or whatever. And he's like, it might make you, it tends to make people crazy. And I'm like, oh great, he's going to be like a crazy guy now. He's going to be like half cocked. And no, he was the same as...
He was just a little neurotic. They did treat him...
Like, there was no... I don't know. That felt like crap. But, like, I appreciated, like, kind of his perspective in the film. And I appreciated the way he died in the movie. Where he's just sitting there and a grenade comes in and he goes, oh... That felt like The Dirty Dozen. That felt like a war movie where people just get killed sometimes.
Yeah, like
not like I'm dying a noble sacrifice. Although he did die a noble sacrifice, but whatever. You know, like I'm just reaching for the button and I'm shot 8 times, but I still hit. No, you just get blown up.
Somebody has to take that heroic death, but then everybody else could be like, nope, go on.
Yeah, you just get shot.
Sorry. I would have, and this probably goes against it. I kind of would have liked to have seen one of those characters get away, even if it was K2SO.
Yeah. I was surprised that they didn't have Jin get away, although, you know, looking back at it, I guess I shouldn't be. Only because of Disney and marketing, like...
There is no they don't care about marketing for this movie.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, making toy sales.
Yeah, they're not going to make a bunch of toy sales.
All right, we've got brand new Rey toy figures,
sure,
and you're going to love her, and she's going to grow. And we have different costumes for her as different movies come out, and then we've got this. Oh, this woman is beautiful, Jin Erso. She's kind of a badass. She wears darker clothes, and the girls who are kind of sassy are going to like her. She's going to be like our goth Disney character.
Yeah,
burnt.
No, they're dead. Sorry. So that's the only reason I thought like maybe she might make it, just so they could sell some action figures. But no, I don't know. I'm disappointed just because I'm shocked.
You know why they killed her? She's not a Disney princess.
Oh, it's true. She's not a princess.
I can't think of a single Disney princess they actually offed. All the Disney princesses...
Snow White and Snow White 2, The Revenging.
I don't think so. She comes back in 3. You know that.
That's true, but she's a cyborg.
White. Snow White 3, white again. We've gone a little off subject, but I think it's kind of a... We agree to disagree that Rogue One was a good, a decent, or a poor movie. We know it made a lot of money, and we know that it was successful enough that it is going to bring in more like it.
I think the most important thing to take away from our conversation is, we agree to disagree, and that's important that we agree to disagree. It's okay to not like things. It's okay if your friends who are nerds don't like the same nerdy stuff as you. I know this has been a controversial topic. It's okay to not like something. It doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't mean you can't be friends anymore. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that you're wrong for liking it or that I'm wrong for not liking it.
You're not wrong. There's no wrong or right. Yeah. There may be I can't believe that you don't like it because I imagine you would have seen it this way. But having talked to you about it a little more...
You should believe that I don't like it.
I believe wholeheartedly that you don't like it. But hopefully that when we do get to see eye to eye, that maybe we can come a little bit closer to an understanding and see each other's merits and maybe appreciate or depreciate the movie, the game, the trailer.
I enjoy discussing things critically, even if I like them. I thoroughly enjoy talking about the original trilogy and the things I don't like about them, although there's not a whole lot that I don't like. But it's fun, and I'm glad that we get to sit here and discuss it critically.
Don't hate us. I think we may have settled that Battle Month is pretty apropos with disagreements.
Maybe we should do just a bunch of reviews of movies I don't like for Battle Month. I could fight about that for a while.
And movies there are very few movies that I don't like that I know people who love.
Yeah,
I'm not exactly with the status quo, but I think if I don't like it, most people don't like it.
Yeah.
There's some things I like that some people don't. There are movies that I like Hackers, that are like woefully out of date.
That's a cult movie now.
It's kind of kitschy, culty.
Yeah, it's kitschy.
That's mine. If someone said, that movie's terrible, I'm like, that's okay.
Of course it's terrible. It's okay to like terrible movies.
I kind of like it because it's bad.
I love Godzilla movies. They're awful.
Oh, no, those are classics. I think if it's black and white, you can just call it a classic and no one can argue.
Not the original Godzilla. I mean the later ones.
Oh, you mean the one set in New York where...
No, not the American ones. I'm talking about like Godzilla versus the Sea Monster and the one where he fights the pollution beast. Oh. The real bad Japanese stuff.
Oh, no,
They're terrible, but I love them.
Oh, shoot. What's the turtle?
Gamera?
I love
movies
Gamera.
are good too.
Because Gamera is all about the kids.
He does. He loves
Gamera
kids.
will fight a monster and then stop and smile at a baby.
He will. Give him a thumbs up, man.
Yeah, Gamera should be the new mascot for the United States.
I'm okay with that.
Right?
A Japanese turtle? Sure.
Gamera 2020. Gamera for president.
Well, I'm glad we wrapped that up too.
Yeah.
But I guess we could bring this episode to a conclusion for this evening. I don't know, any parting thoughts?
No, just appreciate you guys staying with us for 2016. We plan to deliver even better stuff, more inclusivity, and more collaborations in 2017.
Yeah, I think if we summarize 2016 with one word, it'd be learning.
Learning.
I think we learned a lot and
growing.
Got a lot of perspective on how to go forward.
And we've got some updates to our technology, some slightly new equipment, and we've got something else kind of planned that's going to make some of our videos really cool. If you've seen flying cats, then you would know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we've got some new tech on the way. Really, really high-tech stuff from the 70s. So.
But it works for us in our capacity. If you want to check out more that we do, always please see what we post to the Facebook, through the Foundry website, and through our individual YouTubes. I am Crafty Bastard Gamer on YouTube.
And I am 9 to 5 Gamer on YouTube.
So until next time, I am a tall, cool glass of blue milk.
And I am Wart, the forgotten boss from Super Mario Bros. 2.
No, I remember him. He was like the king of dreams, man.
Yeah, he was a big frog.
Yeah, from Doki Doki Panic. I will never forget you, Wart. Never forget. See you next time on the FoundryCast.
Good night, everybody. Justin Timberlake I'd probably hang out with. He seems like
Justin Timberlake I would hate.
He seems like a fun guy.
He's too perfect.
He is very
He's
perfect.
good at everything.
But he'll make you feel... He'll
think
make you
so.
feel good.
I think he'll be like, hey, Cyrus, I really love the way your hair
I brought you
swoops
some
like
cherry cordials.
Cherry cordials. I'm like, man, you're a thoughtful dude. I love Justin Timberlake.